Marker in here then. Alright, so we have infiltrated the bases, the secret hideouts as they were, and we are now approaching the territory of Team Magma and Team Aqua. These guys, kind of like Team Rocket did in the fourth set of the game, these guys have their own cards here. So we have owner cards at this point. If you had 4 copies of Survivor, you'd be able to play 4 copies of Team Aqua's Survivor alongside it. I don't know why you would, because they both suck, but there is that. So this set is kind of weird. I don't think I'm actually going to go over every single little card within this one, mostly because a lot of them are kind of terrible, to be honest. Like, if we look at, say, the Groudon over here, this card just doesn't do enough, right? Like, 2 Fighting and a Colorless to do 60, and if Tails you discard an energy on it, that's kind of terrible, to be honest. Aggron is especially bad for this, where it's like 4 energy for 50, and then you've got to discard a bunch of basic energy in order to do more damage. Just, like, really bad. But what is good in here is very good. So I think there is enough that's worth talking about. So let's separate it into 2. We'll do Aqua and then we'll do the Magma stuff, because the Magmas are more impactful if you know anything about this historically, but the Aqua stuff is kind of worth noting too. There were a couple of like top 32 finishes with Aqua box decks. And we are going to see Aqua today, at least in some fashion, so let's just go over it a little bit. So one of the Aqua box cards is the Cacturne over here. This card's just a little bit under the proper power level here, unfortunately, but most of the good Magma stuff is weak to grass, so this can actually do quite a lot there. 40 plus auto poison, it's like 50 before the opponent gets in. It's like average damage, unfortunately. Dark Bind is interesting if you play Aqua Energy, because if we look down the bottom, Magma and Aqua both have their own energy types as well. They get discarded at the end of the turn you play them, but they're always double energy, one of which is water for Aqua, fighting for Magma, and they're always treated as dark energy too. So you could just discard Aqua energy in order to do this, but like, why would you, right? Because you kind of don't want to play Aqua energy on something that doesn't take water as its requirement. The Groudon wasn't really played, so we're not going to go too much into it. Aqua's got a sub-theme of status condition stuff, but their status condition inflicting is really bad. They don't have any like powers that inflict status conditions, so the Kyogre over here doesn't actually get its bonus damage basically ever. Groudon and Kyogre both have this power where if you don't have at least 4 Pokemon in play that have Team Aqua in the name, they can't attack. This does include the opponent, so Magma Mirrors would be very funny because of that, but they really just don't do much by themselves. But Kyogre especially, the only reason you'd even play this is because it's blue. Water obviously hits the best deck in format that we'll get to later on, so you know, that's kind of cute. What's a little bit better here is the Manectric. Manectric in combination with a Lantern that we'll take a look at in a sec is a very good energy acceleration core for a lot of different decks, to be honest. The power here lets you move any number of basic energy attached to one of your Pokemon with Team Aqua in the name to another one. This is important to note, and I think we've been slightly misreading this. It is not energy trans, strictly speaking. It is a once per turn, but you can move multiple energy at the same time. This is something we will need to bring up in the games as well. Thunderspark is also reasonable. It does that 50 that the Cacturne does, except it also snipes 10 to every bench Pokemon that has energy on them. So if the opponent's building up a bunch of different threats on the board, you can hit them for spread damage here as well. It's pretty good. Sharpedo is somewhat interesting. It's got 0 retreat, and Aqua Slash just does a solid 60 for free, but it can't attack next turn. However, 0 retreat means you can just switch out of this no problem. Rage would be nice if it had more HP, but it doesn't, so whatever. If you're playing Aqua Energy, you probably look into this, just because it can hit 60 for 2 energy at that point, like 2 attachments. Warreen, kind of like the Aggron, is just really bad. It does at least have less common weaknesses. For some reason they decided to give these guys 2 weaknesses. I think it's because of Maxie and Archie that we'll get into later on. But yeah, its attacks are really bad. Return any number of basic energy attached to all of your Pokemon to hand and do extra damage, only 10 extra for every energy you return, and it's 50 for 4 otherwise is just terrible. Both of the first attacks here aren't really worth talking about too much. Aggron's Crush could be funny, if nothing else, because for every energy that's attached to it, you flip and do 30 times. It's the same attack as what Azumarill had, but for 1 less energy base. Really not very strong though. The other important Aqua stuff here, as noted, is the Lantern. You can attach a basic energy from your hand to this thing once per turn as an extra attachment. You put 2 damage counters on it when you do. But if you have a couple of heal-based cards, especially something like Pokemon Nurse or Mr. Briny's Compassion, you can pick this guy up or like fully heal it and just reuse it again. You need to transfer the energy off first, but that's what the Manectric is for. So there's your basic core for it. There is an Electrike that also attaches an energy from hand to itself to get more energy and play more quickly. So there is your base core for the Aqua stuff. As far as the supporters and stuff go for it, Aqua Schema and Magma Schema are basically the same cards, so we'll just go over the Aqua one here. You discard any Pokemon from your hand and draw 3 cards, but if you discard an Aqua Pokemon, you draw 4 instead. Discard 1, draw 4 is pretty respectable. You just need to be playing enough Aqua or Magma Pokemon in this case to actually do that. Archie is kind of nuts, and I didn't really fully read this the first time because I thought it was basically just Maxi but for Team Aqua. It's actually different. Maxi gets a Magma Pokemon from the hand or the discard. Archie searches your deck for it. Any Pokemon with Team Aqua, search your deck, put it onto the bench. If it's a stage 2, then you put 2 damage counters on it. Basically, it's just if you get Warring, then it's at 100 HP instead of 120. But you can just cheat out any Pokemon from your deck that's got Team Aqua in its name. So that Cacturn, you can cheat it out with this. The Lantern, you can just immediately get out. It's amazing. Both teams have also got a respective Pokeball here. If you flip heads, you get any Pokemon that has Team Aqua or Team Magma in its name and put it into hand. If tails, you can only get a basic Pokemon. But you still just play this because it guarantees that you get your basics at the start, so you can evolve into the Lantern, Electrike and stuff later. Both teams also have belts that at the end of the turn, if your Pokemon is active and has this on and you can evolve it, like a Team Aqua or a Team Magma Pokemon, you basically get to consume this tool and evolve the Pokemon. It's not really worth it, to be honest, but it could be interesting on specifically Electrike. If you could go Electrike, Aqua Belt, Self-Charge, that's a Manectric with 2 energy on it immediately, which is pretty respectable. Both teams also have Conspirator. This is much better for Magma than for Aqua, but there are still cases where like a slightly slower Aqua deck could use this. Search for any 2 in combination of Aqua basics or basic energy cards. Put them into hand. The Magma one obviously does the same for the Magma stuff. This can be very good. Remember, Lantern does require that you have the energy in hand, so you could search for a basic Pokemon and an energy to attach to Lantern. It's pretty good. Also gets you going in the early game. You can get 2 Electrike or 2 Chinchou or any combination of that to go with. You also have Aqua Hideout, where every Pokemon that isn't Team Aqua pays 1 more to retreat. So decent disruption trainer. This can combine with Muck in order to increase damage that it does, because it does damage based on retreat cost, so can be decent. And then the Aqua Technical Machine is just inflict any special condition you want on the opponent, can only be attached to a Team Aqua Pokemon, and it only lasts for 1 turn, but sometimes it's kind of cute. It's not really worth it, but you know, it is there. Honestly, there's not a lot else in here worth talking about. The Celio is kind of interesting here because it is a Wally target. So you could Wally turn 1, go into this, do 20 for 1 energy, and if the opponent doesn't switch out, then they fall asleep going into your next turn, which works with its Super Hypnoblast. It's kind of like Haunter from Expedition, but slightly stronger. Only slightly though. So, like, it's okay, but we're probably never going to see it. And then everything else is just really bad, like Slow Acting Poison here is terrible. All of the basics aren't really worth talking about, so that's sad to say, but that is basically it as far as Aqua goes. Now Magma Like I said, it won Worlds. I'm not actually convinced it's particularly strong overall, but there's a few things that are worth going into. Notably, the Groudon is a lot stronger than the Kyogre, because Groudon actually has a really good first attack, as well as its second attack is easier to get more damage on it going. The first attack does 20 to one of the opponent's Pokemon, whereas Kyogre did 10 damage and a status condition that may or may not stay on the opponent's Pokemon during their next turn. 20 snipe anywhere is really good, and it sets up its second attack very well, where if you have at least 2 damage counters on the thing you're attacking, you do 70 instead of 50. Now the 50 is still fine, but 70, effectively 90 when you factor in the damage that's already on them, that's enough to KO a lot of Pokemon. So this is definitely strong, and it's fighting too. One thing I haven't noted about a lot of these yet is they do have a dual type of Dark. We did note that the Magma Aqua energy do actually provide Dark as well. That part usually doesn't matter, but what does matter is that these guys have Dark in their typing, because that means special Darkness energy can give you an extra buff in damage too, and that's where the Groudon gets truly scary, when it's starting to do 80 or 90 damage with its attack, and starting to just two-shot everything in the game is very good. The Kyogre can use it too, but it doesn't do bonus damage, so 60 alone is not really going to cut it, right? So there is that. Now, this wouldn't be good by itself because it still takes a lot of colored energy, right? Sure, this is a 100 HP basic Pokemon, it's not an EX, so it only gives out 1 prize. That's decent, but with no native energy acceleration in fighting, this wouldn't be particularly good. But what makes it good is the fact that we have a Claydol over here, as well as, most importantly, the Camerupt. This is Magma's equivalent to, in fact both of them are equivalents really. Camerupt is the equivalent to the Lantern here, except this one attaches energy from the discard pile. So search your deck, discard for a basic energy, attach it to the Camerupt, put 2 damage counters on it. This attack is also somewhat notable because both Groudon and Kyogre are weak to grass, and most grass types are weak to fire. So Flame Ball could potentially do 100 damage here, and you move any fire energy or any card that's treated as a fire energy from the Camerupt to one of your bench Pokemon. So you can move a Rainbow with this as well if that's what you have attached. Now, if a grass type is not weak to fire, it's weak to psychic, and that's what the Claydol does. Claydol is the equivalent to the Manectric here, except it's only once per turn and it's only 1 energy, but it can move any energy that's attached to one of your Magma Pokemon to another. So this actually does let you move special energy, not just basic energy like the Manectric does. Its actual attack is decent enough here as well. It's hard for this deck to have more cards in hand than the opponent, but it is psychic and it hits for 40. That's enough generally to contend with Gardevoir, which is the best psychic deck here. Also tends to deal with Espeon and Xatu as well if we were to see those. Gardevoir has a habit of putting damage counters on itself, so it's usually at 80 HP anyway, and if you can get the bonus damage you can hit up to 120 on the Gardevoir, maybe more if you put Darkness energy on. Keep in mind this is Psychic Dart type, so Special Darkness can be used on this to buff its damage output, and maybe even the EX is tackleable at that point. So that's the crux of it, but unlike Aqua, whose basic Pokemon is Survivor and absolute garbage, because look at that second attack, it just doesn't do nearly enough, Team Magma does have Zangoose, and I'm a little cold on this card, but it's honestly not the worst thing out there. It hits colorless, which is really good for beating the dragons. Remember, every dragon type that's resistant to fighting is weak to colorless, so this does pretty good there. It's got Call for Family, so you can search your deck for either a colorless basic, or let's face it, it's a basic with Team Magma in its name. You're never going to use this outside of Magma decks because Dunsparce exists. But you get Team Magma basic, put it onto the bench, and then for free energy, which this is free of any energy at this point, 10 damage for every Pokemon in play with Team Magma. Really strong in the mirror, because if the opponent is playing Team Magma as well, this could easily hit 80 to 100 damage, because they need their Pokemon in play as well, right? But even if they don't, this will still hit 60 for free, and potentially 2 if you use Magma energy. Unlike the others, this is not a Dark type, so it does not get the bonus damage as well, but it is also just a basic, so that's kind of cool. We've already mentioned basically all of the supported stuff here. I will go over Maxi specifically because unlike Archie, like I said, this doesn't search the deck. It gets your Magma Pokemon from the hand or the discard. So if a Camerupt, say, gets knocked out, you can then bring that Camerupt back and put it onto the bench. If you discard one early for Schema or more likely TV Reporter, you can get it on the bench later on. Very, very strong card. The other notable thing that I have not already gone over its equivalent is the Magma Hideout. This doesn't do anything to retreat costs, but if a player benches a non-team Magma Pokemon from their hand, then you put a damage counter on that Pokemon at that time. So it can be pretty cool. It's only one damage counter, however, so it doesn't set up the Groudon by itself, which is a bit of a shame. And then the Technical Machine, you never see this played because it's just a win more type card, really. 10 damage, choose an energy attached to the defending Pokemon, put it at the bottom of the opponent's deck. Kinda cool, but honestly, there's never really a time to use that because you're either using team play or you're attacking with Groudon or something, so never a time to play that. There's a couple of other Magma cards that are kind of gimmicky that are sort of worth looking at here. Houndoom over here, if there was a reliable way to burn the opponent, this would do 50 for 2, which is pretty strong. Potentially 60 if you put a special dark on this thing. Magma Spurt is another one of these attacks like Quilava had, like Blaine's Magma had, where you discard the top 5 of your deck and do 30 times the number of, in this case it's fire and fighting basic energy, so that's kind of cool. But how are you getting all of those energy like onto stuff, right? And you've still got free energy to put on this thing, and it doesn't like Magma energy very much because it's too. It doesn't take fighting, it takes fire. So ironically, Magma energy doesn't work with it. It's weird. I think the other one was Torkoal that we looked at here, where you mill the top card of the opponent's deck and do 10 damage to them, and if Tails, you discard a fire energy attached to it. It's cute, but Moltres Mill, this is not, so I wouldn't really worry about this too much. Other than that, honestly, there really isn't a lot here. Like, we have the Houndoom here that does burn to a Team Aqua Pokemon. Whoop-de-doo, this is basically just worse Groudon from the previous set. There is a Mighty for Magma that's kind of interesting. This almost reads like a good card. Lunge is not a great attack, admittedly, but if it's your active Pokemon, you can search your deck for a Team Magma Pokemon and put it into hand. It's cute, but it's stage 1 and it has to be active, so unfortunately just doesn't do enough. There's a bunch of like basic Pokemon in this set as well, not really sure why, maybe they were like promos in Japan or something. There's like a Bulbasaur, this Bulbasaur's got 50 HP, so it's automatically better than the Bulbasaur that I had access to, which is kind of neat. But yeah, none of these really matter too much. The Pikachu, I guess, is the same as the promo one we got, so Sai was able to use this, which is kind of nice. The Slowbro, Slowpoke even, has Amnesia, which is kind of fun. I don't think the Slowbro was any good like in a couple of sets time now, so whatever. Squirtle Shell Retreat could end up being decent. Cut damage to it by 10 if it has an energy on it. That might be playable when Blastoise EX comes out, but honestly, not really great. As far as the other trainers go, there's not a lot, but there are a couple of reprints that are worth it here. Dual Ball is an excellent print to stay in the game. This now let me complete my playset, which is really good. Strength Charm is another one that's pretty good to have in the game right now. We haven't really been able to use it yet because our decks have not been able to go aggro enough, but I'm sure there will be ways we can utilize that soon. And there's a reprint of Warp Point, I guess. I think Warp Point wasn't reprinted until here. I think the other print of it was in Expedition, so it's nice to keep this sort of thing in format. And then we have the EXs, and honestly, like, 3 of these are completely game-changing, and at least 2 of them are definitely interesting. Blaziken EX is the best deck in the format. There's not really any way around it. We're not necessarily going to see this at full power because Matt did not pull this card. Nobody has been willing to trade it to him for obvious reasons. He's the only one with 2 Blaziken. I have 1, and I've still been able to use this to good effect in my testing. This card is just insane. 150 HP. It is weak to the 2 best, like the other best decks of the format, at least the Art Magma. Because Gardevoir is also really good, and Swampert is pretty solid too, but even next set like Gorbis would kill this. So it does have a target on his head, but it's still really strong despite that. Blaze Kick for 2 energy is guaranteed 30. If you flip heads, it does 50. If you flip tails, it's burning the opponent, which then gives them a coin flip to dodge it doing 50 instead. So like 75% of the time this is doing 50 damage for 2 energy. That's absurd, but it gets better, because Volcanic Ash for 2 fire and 2 colorless, you discard 2 fire and you snipe 100 damage anywhere on the opponent's board that you want. Holy hell, just why? Snipe 100 on this is just incredible. Like, why would you allow that, right? 100 is enough to one-hit KO basically anything that isn't a stage 2, or, I don't know, like freaking Wailord or something, right? It's dumb strong. Absolutely dummy strong. And keep in mind, the Blaziken that you play with this accelerates energy from the discard to bench Pokemon. So you can have another Blaziken EX getting powered up on the bench, then just switch it out, and Volcanic Ash just keeps on going. Insane card. Critical EX, I actually don't think this reads that badly, but it is a little bit expensive here. If it's your active, the opponent can't evolve their active Pokemon, which works for the status conditions this thing does. 30 for double colorless, or like 2 colorless and auto confusion. Confusion's really annoying, so this is pretty strong that way. And then, yeah, 2 grass, 2 colorless is a bit expensive for a fossil Pokemon here. Only 60 damage, but it poisons and burns. So functionally it's 70, potentially 90. So actually quite strong in its own right. Entei, I've been calling this Red Rayquaza basically all week, because functionally right now it does the same thing for me. Its first attack is whatever, 10 plus a burn chance for 1 energy, that's okay I guess. Bright Flame is where it's at. 2 fire and a colorless to do 90, 10 more than Rayquaza does. Discard 2 energy attached to it. That's fine, right? Any 2 energy, so you could actually use this ironically with Swampert to power up the active, which is pretty funny. Just a decent strong card overall. 100 HP, a little bit of a liability in the end, but it's still pretty good. Raikou, not quite so good here. The confusion chance is nice, but its second attack only does 70 for the same cost, and if Tails it does 20 to itself, so it's a little bit underpowered here. But you could use this with stuff like the Lantern Manectric combo, and you're not discarding energy, so that could be pretty solid. And then we get, we'll say Suicune for the next one here. This card was really good with Swampert, from what I have been told. I could see it. For 1 energy, it snipes 10 on one of the opponent's Pokemon, and then potentially, if you choose to, move an energy from that Pokemon to one of the other Pokemon in play. So that's kind of cool. And then Reverse Stream only does 50, but if you return all the basic energy attached to this thing to the hand, it does more damage for each one you return. So that's why it works with Swampert, because Swampert can let you load up a ton of extra energy on this thing that you just bounce back and do a ton of damage. So pretty cool. Speaking on Swampert, we do have this thing over here. There wasn't just Blaziken that was really good. This was also very strong. Note it's a fighting type, so it does provide diversity to the deck. It's only weak to grass, which is a different weakness to Swampert too. Swampert was weak to lightning, go figure. So it adds a different dynamic that way. It hits lightning for weakness, so that's always good. And its attacks are solid too. Basically add 20 damage for each energy, up to 5 total that this thing has on for its first attack. So it does 20 times the energy that's on it, up to 100. 100 for 5 is surprisingly good actually, for an attack that doesn't stop you from attacking next turn. And then Crushing Wave for free energy, you snipe 40 on one of the opponent's Pokemon, which can just finish stuff off on the bench, but if it doesn't finish them off, you can flip a coin, and if heads you discard an energy on that Pokemon. So that's pretty strong. And then last but not least, we do have Sceptile over here. This thing's got 3 different attacks, and it is pretty neat here. Note that it's weak to itself, which is annoying, I guess because Poison/Bug is in the Grass type right now. but it's whatever, you know, resistant to water could still be pretty good too. Green Heal is nice. You remove 4 damage counters from each of your Pokemon that has any grass energy attached to them. Do keep in mind Sceptile is the line that has energy trance, so you're able to spread all of your grass energy around to get the maximum healing off of this, which is good. And then its other 2 attacks are pretty similar to Typhlosion EX, but it's mostly just the sheer fact of it's in like a better type for it, and it has a pre-evolution that you can use is why this is good. 40 for free energy is a little bit low, but also poison makes it 50 guaranteed, and the opponent can't retreat next turn, so they're probably going to take extra damage going into your turn anyway, so that's pretty good. And then 100 for 5, which is boost energy compatible, can't use that attack next turn. You can still Poison Ring or Green Heal though, so you don't have to switch out if you don't want to, so that is also pretty good. The promos here, there's a trainer kit, the Latias and Latios stuff. Nothing too special, but this Linoon over here is pretty good, like to have another copy of, because I only pulled 2 of it, just to show the actual Latios and stuff here. They're technically better than last time, but not by much, let's be honest. They look very mean too, which is unlike them. So yeah, what are we actually playing today? As much as I don't want to because it's leading them into a really horrible matchup, I'm not convinced I want to play this deck next time round, so I think we're going to anyway. Let's showcase what I can from Team Magma. Like I said, I'm a little cold on this deck. I don't think it's as good as historically it made out to be. It was a surprise hit at Worlds that like the Western world didn't see coming, and that was pretty much it. The main reason I don't think this is super strong is just because it doesn't really have a lot of... it's hard to not brick sometimes with this. It does have early aggression, and maybe it's because I only have the Magma energy. Oh, I didn't even mention Double Rainbow. Right, just before we go in then. Double Rainbow energy is absolutely nuts. And it's a shame that most of us except Leo only pull 1 of it, or 2 at most. You can't attach this to an EX Pokemon, it has to go on an evolution non-EX, but whilst it's in play, it is, as the name implies, 2 of any energy that you want, but it cuts your damage down by 10 before applying weakness and resistance. This is a mistranslation on this first one, it gets errated later on. It cuts damage down by 10. But it's 2 of any energy in 1 attachment. The card is absurd, and we're going to see plenty of potential uses for that later on. Anyway, back to the Magma deck over here. So there's like 2 reasons I'm not as fond of this. It tends to like run out of steam fairly well, like fairly quickly. It's not a good thing for it to run out of steams, but you know, there it is. And also, it has just a little bit of issue maintaining stuff here, I found. Like, maybe that's the same thing, I don't know, but it's just like, yeah, Groudon is really strong, and if you can attack with it a lot, then great, but there are times where you just don't get to do much of that. Like, you just draw terrible hands where you don't have the right energy or something, or you just don't have the supporters around for it, and the deck has to play a lot of supporters here. Granted, this is before Steven's advice comes in, so maybe I'm playing this deck too early, and it actually is better than I give it credit for, but, like, it does have some pretty horrible matchups here too. Groudon is weak to grass, so basically any grass hitter is going to demolish you. Next set has got Blossom that will one-shot it, but you can sort of fight back with camera ups. Muck that we saw last week is a guaranteed auto loss. And if Matt was able to play this week, he would probably be playing that just because of that aspect. So, I don't know. Anyway, to go over what we've got 2-2 camera up here. The world's winning decks actually only played 1 normal, but they're crazy. You need to play 2. This has got Collect as well, so it's really good as a starter. 2 Zangoose. I do have 3 of it, but this week I think 2 is just a better call, so we're going to go with the 2 here. I'm going with this Baltoy, but I actually don't know if I like it that much. There's a Psychic Baltoy that has better attacks, and the other fighting Baltoy, which I might actually just take out here because we have it over here anyway. I don't have to pull new stuff out. The other fighting Baltoy has guaranteed 10 damage for 1 colorless energy. So yeah, I'm actually going to pull this one out because this is the one that they played in the Worlds list, and it looks like the worst Baltoy to me, but I'm thinking about it a little bit more, and this putting a damage counter thing down has actually messed me up more than I would care to admit. Even if it's just because it's on a fighting energy instead of a colorless, that matters if you're only opening with like one of these energy down here. So I think I will actually just play this one. We obviously have 2 of the Claydol. I pulled 2 of this, which is really good. We're getting lent 1 of these Groudon this week, but that's fine. I did like pull 1, got 2 from the deck, and then got the other one here. And that's all the Pokemon, just 14 in this list. Initially I wanted more Zangoose, but we found that this week when we don't have Steven's advice, that's not the correct way to play the deck. So instead we've got 2 Dual Ball. This helps us to get more Pokemon to play. We just need to hit that threshold for Groudon. So we're playing 2 Dual Ball and 4 Magma Ball here to allow us to get as many of our Pokemon out as we can. This deck does play triple Pokemon Reversal. It's a little bit of a flippy card, but it's a very strong tool for just sniping down what the opponent is relying on the bench. So, excellent tool to have in this deck. 1 copy of Switch. I would like more than this, to be honest, but I've managed to keep 1 in, despite having to like bulk up some of the other stuff. So, I think it's fine. Maybe another Mr. Briny would be fine here, but we'll get into that as we go. Supporter-wise, I'm playing 2 Copycat, mostly because most opponents do not have that many Delcatty right now. Next set, I could bump this up with Steven's Advice being a thing, but right now I think it's fine. 1 Desert Shaman, because again, don't have like Steven's Advice available yet, so I kind of like the idea of having a little bit of disruption here. 2 copies of Maxi is all I pulled, but it's all you really need to play in this deck. It is a brick unless you have a good target in the hand or the discard, so you don't really want to play more than that. 2 Mr. Briny's Compassion. One of the reasons these Magma and Aqua like basic focus decks are so good is because you're able to heal your Pokemon off. If you use Mr. Briny's Compassion on a Groudon that's taken like 80 or 90 damage, that's probably 2 or 3 2 turns that the opponent has been attacking it that you now have just removed off their field. And since this can't work on EXs, then this is the perfect sort of deck for it, right? Because it's all 1 prizes. Definitely works out. Maybe would play a 3rd one, to be honest. Professor Birch is in here only because I don't have Steven's Advice, but I need a little bit more draw in here, and I don't really like Professor Oak in this deck. The more I've tested it, because there's oftentimes you just want to keep the cards that are in your hand, but you just need to see more of them. So Birch is the way to go for that. Team Mammoth Conspirator is a godsend in this deck. You can obviously use it to get the basics so that Groudon can attack, but you can also use it to get the basic energy, of which we have 2 1-ops. So you can use this to get the energy that you need for a Camerupt or Claydol to attack. Very strong card. TV Reporter, this is the real reason why I played the 2 Birch in here, because I didn't pull any of this, so I only have the 2 that came from the decks. You would want 4, but such is the way. So we're playing Underground Expedition instead. I only have 3 of this as well, so I don't have a full playset here. But this looks at the bottom 4 cards of your deck, takes 2 of those cards, puts them into hand, the others go back on the bottom of the deck any way that you choose. So this allows you to see the bottom of your deck, where TV Reporter and Steven's Advice later on will draw from the top. So you're able to take a bunch of different stuff with it there. And then 1 Strength Charm. I wanted to fit more of this in, but I don't think we can quite do that yet. Strength Charm lets Groudon hit the extra numbers that you want here, so you can hit that 80, 90 sort of thing you need to KO any particular Pokemon. As far as the energy goes, there's 17 in here. I am playing both a Fire and a Psychic for the Claydol and Camerupt over here, because I only have 3 copies of Magma Energy. I nat pulled 1 and traded for 2. Pepper only had the 2 available, so can't really go further there. 2 Rainbow Energy can provide the other colors for your Claydol and your Camerupt, so they can actually do damage as well. and then the 4 Darkness Energy because Darkness is the way that Groudon actually hits the numbers it needs to. So you definitely play a maxed out thing of that. Keep in mind this no longer bleeds Pokemon that aren't Dark type, so you can attach this to a Zangoose turn 1 to team play, and then when you get Claydol online you can just transfer that energy from the Zangoose to something else. Really cool. Then to round off we have 6 Fighting Energy over here as well, for 17 total. You just want to make sure you have enough energy around for this, so it is totally fine to play a whole bunch. So let's go ahead, let's do our little tweak here. This still took longer than I expected it to, but that is fine. It is just the way I am. I am very verbose with these things. So I guess, what was it, Magma, Aqua, we're just going to go with Team Magma. Let's just see how they're doing. I hope you weren't waiting too long for me there, because I talk too much with these things apparently.
Yeah, we were talking about deck building as well. I was helping Leo out a bit because it was a bit of a mismatch.
Oh
dear.
That
was mostly because of weakness.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Weakness matchup happens, so...
Yeah, it does. Well, I didn't get to play you or even see your deck last week, Leo. I was hoping to at least see that, but yeah, I didn't even get to see it on the stream and stuff last week, so...
was that a minute ago? I think Leo just deleted it again, but it probably hasn't saved still.
That was my makeshift deck. My actual deck that I used to win games. Let me pull up. It was a Kingdra one.
Yeah, like I was kind of hoping to see that last week because it'd be nice to. Yeah, like I didn't get the 3rd one in trade, so I wasn't able to build Kingdra myself this week. But that's only because I'm not.
This week.
That's only because I'm not playing it. I'm not playing. I'm not like paying a God of War to get it. You know.
Fair. Yeah, here it is.
I don't even want a Gardevoir anymore. Like, I actually have a bit of buyer's remorse because I've actually noticed playing through my deck, I'd actually rather have Nurse with in the tech version than Brinies. So I've actually had a bit of trader's remorse on those Nurses, but it's not a big deal. It's only really a problem because healing the Rayquaza actually matters in the Magma matchup.
Yeah, that's fair. You can't Briny it. Oops,
no.
That was a shuffle again. You can't Briny a Rayquaza, so I understand that, but.
I'm just trying to rotate. There we go.
Yeah.
Spread.
How many cards are in your spread then? Because seeing the gap at the bottom here.
Oh. Yeah.
17.
Ah, okay. Oh, you do have a Delcatty.
1.
Neat. Okay. Yeah, that's cool.
Another case of
Magneton's not a
type, I see.
Well, I think I took out Magneton's electric because I wanted him to just be.
I would put the electric back in, honestly, because it is actually a pretty.
He is a good attacker.
In a pinch.
Yeah, he is a pretty good attacker. Yeah, let me just.
It's not like
right
King was actually very water hungry anyway. It only needs 1.
It only takes 1.
1, 2, 3. Alright, let me. Where's the basic? There it is.
Yeah, this whole like 3-2 split on EX to non-EX, usually it's the other way around because of just because of the nature of the non-EXs. Like if you look at a Blaziken deck, ideally it would play like 3 non-EX Blaziken to 2 regulars, but that's because the regular Blaziken is the energy acceleration, right? Here, obviously, you play it the other way around, but this like 3-2 split thing, I've been seeing quite a lot of decks of this sort of time period, and it does make sense.
Prize insurance, because you just never want to be just have one of them, and it gets prize, and you're sad.
It's a little bit of that, and a little bit of just general versatility as well, I think. Like, being able to adapt and say, okay, the non-EX is like really bad in this matchup, but the EX is amazing, so I'm going to focus on that more, right? Whereas if you only played, say, one of, or it could be the other way around, where like the EX is not particularly good, but you still want the power of the non-EX, and if you only have one of them and that gets KO'd, well, you are very sad. So
I can see that man got for Swampert in particular because of its type differences.
yeah, Swampert I think is like 3 of the EX, no, 3 of the non-EX, 2 of the EX as well, is the standard I was seeing, because for the same sort of thing. The EX is your energy acceleration, so you definitely want that, but... Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Baby.
Yeah, I was gonna say, everything alright over there?
Yeah, it's the family. They got kids and stuff over.
Yeah.
That's my niece.
Aw.
Mm-hmm. Alright,
I don't
I
mind
can
what you
play
play.
both of these decks.
Yeah, I don't
can play
mind
both.
what you play with this stuff that way. It's not. I was just like, because I didn't get to see this deck last time before the stream ended and whatnot. I was just I was curious on it is all.
Yeah, no problem. I'll just play both. I don't think these will be very long battles anyway.
We'll
If you're using
see.
electric.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
using electric myself. No,
Alright.
I actually don't have an electric deck built anymore because I traded my 2 Raichu to somebody else to get the Kingdras, and then I never managed to get the other Kingdra yet. Right. Okay then. Let's see if this deck is as I mean, this is not an amazing start, I'll be honest. But let's see if this deck is honestly how I think it is here.
Oh,
Ooh,
don't
no
have a good
basic.
start.
Oh, the Aqua hideout. Interesting. Okay, yep. I will take my 1 mulligan card for that. Yeah, I feel. Oh, what are you loading in?
Sorry, I was just checking a Kingdra text. I didn't want to bother anyone about it.
Yeah, I think I will put the additional 1 down here. Yep, so you got a basic. Alright, what would we like for coin toss?
Heads.
This is the last time for a little bit that we have to do it this way. It is tails, so I will be going first here. Which isn't stellar, I'll be honest with you.
Sangus.
Yeah. I will play dual ball. Okay. Okay, never mind. I just want to see first. Yeah, it seems pretty strong. Of course, the next card would have been one that I actually cared about, but that's fine. I was just curious because it doesn't take long to load that search there. It's like, what would the next card be before I saw it? Oh. Okay, that's those are some prizes that exist. Alright, not the worst ever, but definitely not where I want to be within this one. Yeah, ouch, okay. Sure. Right, so shuffle that up. We will show the Numel and the Groudon, and unfortunately that has to end the turn here, so go ahead.
Ooh, the old no energy start, that's always rough.
Oh, it's much worse than you can imagine. Yep.
Team Aqua. Doesn't matter what I get.
Yeah, so just a basic on this one.
And go with Corfish.
Corfish.
Eventually. I'm kind of lagging right now.
Ah, that's fine. Yep, Corfish. I like how in your face this one is. You know?
Yeah. It's like you're playing that Pokemon snapshot game or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Like my claws? You like my claws? Want to see my claws up close?
Then I will Dunsparce and switch. But first, please search.
So no supporter from you either, huh?
Look at this. Yeah, I didn't draw a single supporter. Allegedly. This.
Yeah, that will be fine.
But yeah, if you want to know how our game went, turn 2 Lantern attack into a water deck. Have fun.
Yeah, sounds about right. Okay, so you are going to switch. Right, let's draw then. Well, I will maxi put Claydol down and end my turn. Go ahead.
Damn. Alright.
I told you I'm not like keen on this deck. I mean, this is a pretty good showing why. Yep.
Water energy.
Yeah, Mace. It's never fun when your decks decide to turn to masonry.
Yep. All right. So. Oh, all right. Okay. No need to shuffle then because you didn't show. Didn't show anything else. So. All right.
So,
That's pretty good.
yeah, we'll call it there. Your turn.
Alrighty. That technically does something. Okay, I will put a darkness on Groudon and I'll end the turn at that. That is technically something.
Team Aqua, Conspirator.
That's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good card. I only run. It's a card I've thought about running in my build. It is a good card.
Show them both to you. And 2.
Yep. Yeah, it's a card I'd be really appreciating drawing right now. Let's shuffle this up whilst they're here.
Yeah. And then I will poison reaction for 20.
Yep. Alright. Let's draw. Well, sure. I will also Conspirator.
Oh, nice.
I mean, it only took me 4 turns to draw a supporter card, so we get there.
You got Maxi.
That's true. I started Maxi, so mostly used it because I didn't have anything else going on, Right. So I guess I should probably just grab 2 fighting energy here. That would make the most sense.
From what I heard, energy allows you to pay for attacks.
Yeah, surprising how that works, isn't it? Okay, well, my hand might not have been amazing at the start here, but things are coming together a little bit now. Let's try Pokemon Reversal. Okay, let's try again. I've got the second one. Fair enough, never lucky, that's fine. Honestly, I should probably just hit active anyway at this point with the energy that's on it. Yeah, we will attach. I'll play switch to get to the Groudon, and we will linear attack the active for 30 because I have a dark energy on me.
Okay.
Yep. So choose one of your opponents because I'm hitting active. So yeah, it will do 30 because the darkness energy will buff it. I don't think that part really matters here because it'll die next turn anyway, but it's nice to have the extra there. Yep.
Lightning. Gonna fastball.
Yep.
Gotta attack against the random Pokepark.
Let's not put the fastball. Let's not put them on top of the fastball. There we go.
Nope. Oops. Nope.
Yeah, I mean, that is technically also yeah. So Sharpedo in hand. That is technically also a thing. Pepper, you are correct.
Yeah, because the Lantern deck can actually run Pokepark reasonably well because it will trigger off auxiliary lights. It helps keep it in the game longer.
Alright.
I'll probably be padding it next set, to be honest, because Desert Ruins.
Yeah. Yeah, for your Rayquaza deck specifically.
Like, if you're not using Rayquaza in the Aqua deck, you should just run Desert Ruins yourself.
This is a big decision here.
If there's
I think
one,
I
oh,
will. I'll switch to
Okay.
Dunsparce.
Yep.
And then I will. I'll try to Sudden Flash.
Okay.
Please.
Oh, never lucky. All right. Fair dues. Fair dues. Right, we will draw then.
That work.
Ooh. Okay. That's at least a card I can play. We're gonna Underground Expedition. So, looking at the bottom four, I actually, because I'm on controller, I actually have a way of doing it with this. So if I click ZL here, I actually just get the bottom card off of my deck for that. So rather than having to do the split thing, I'm just gonna do that because this is the bottom four cards of my deck here. So I get any two of these, and then the other two go to the bottom of the deck again in any order. So those are the two that are going back, and then these are the two that are coming with me. Right, I will use Claydol's Magma switch here so I can move one energy from one of my Magma Pokemon to another one. So we're going to move the Darkness energy over. Unlike the... oh, there's a thing with the Miniature, by the way, Pepper. I don't know if you've noticed. It's not an energy trans specifically. It's a once per turn move any number of energy from one of your Aquas to another thing.
Yeah.
Just in case that came in, it is actually...
Yeah, I've noticed that. It does matter, yeah.
Yeah. Just in case. But anyway, yeah, this is just a once per turn switch any one of my Magma's energies elsewhere. So I'm shifting the Dark over just in case something stupid happens to this next turn. You never know. I'm going to put a fighting down on that. Yeah, that makes sense. And we will end the turn there.
By the way, I found a way to do that on a mouse and keyboard. It's Alt plus right click while holding a deck.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Alright, I think I'll just strike and run.
Alright, I will put the damage on.
Strike and run is not damage.
Oh, strike and run, right? Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm too used to like sudden flash at this point. Strike and run does make sense, yeah. My bad. I'm just expecting the infinite paralysis flips here, but then I forgot I'm not playing against Sai, so it's okay.
I don't think I'm that lucky, so
that's fair. Right, and you are going to switch out. Okay, fair dues. I will draw. Right, so how much do we commit then? I think I will play a second expedition here. It's a little sucky that I haven't been able to shuffle the deck with this yet because I am going to see two of the same cards here, but that's fine. It could be worse. Okay. Do that and that. So those going back at the bottom. Oh wait, does that? Oh, that might change things actually. Hang on, I gotta make sure that if I'm looking at this right. If I do that, yeah, actually that's gonna work. I'm going to evolve the Baltoy to Claydol here. These are once per turn, like soft once per turn, so I can use both of them here. We're gonna move both of the energy up to the active here. I will attach a second darkness for turn, and we're gonna do pulverize for 70 and take the knockout on the active.
Man, that was a lot of energy.
Yeah.
I was expecting to live at least one, so I can.
Yeah. I was thinking, am I just gonna linear attack like the being on the bench there? And then I'm looking at this, going, wait, no, because I've gotten the second Claydol there, I can actually knock that out. So, like that just seemed like it made more sense.
Alright. Well. It's not looking good. Okay. Guess I'll Oracle.
Yep.
To go 2 cards. Oh, actually, yeah, that works out. So 1 and 2. No. Should put a different color. Let's take this one out.
Right, okay,
Alright.
so we're going to need to do that to put it back in. Yep, we've got it shuffled up, so... And that gets your order. Yep.
Alright, double claw. Let's see if we can get some more damage.
Alright, that's 70,
Ooh.
right? So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do think this Groudon has potential as a tech box option because of the 1 pip in double claw. The flippiness is a bit of a put off.
Yeah, like it
Yeah.
averages the standard number, right, of 50 for free. Whether that's good enough nowadays is a different question, but it does like average the right sort of. Oh my god, I'm sorry, dude. All right, we are going to use the clay dolls here. I'm
You're gonna nurse it up or something.
something like that. I'm gonna move. Let's see. Yeah, I think I unfortunately need to do this slightly away from what I want here, but that's still fine. Yeah, I drew Briny for turn, so I can pick up the active and all cards attached to it and put it into hand. So all of these are going back. This fighting energy might as well stay out actually, because that's going to be the attach for turn. And then we're going to put the Groudon down, and this will be a pulverize for 80 because you've got 2 damage counters on already. It wouldn't matter anyway because this thing's dying to 50, so that will take the knockout. I was gonna do something entirely different that turn, and then I drew that, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, getting rid of all the damage you've done over that with that attack seems pretty strong.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Alright, well, this is not going well.
No, it is not.
2 Aqua Schemer, discard this.
You have to discard a Pokemon with Schemer.
It has to be a
Pokemon?
Pokemon?
Yeah.
There's a reason.
Discard any one Pokemon from your hand, then draw 3 cards.
Schemer's not a great card, I'll be honest.
It's
not the same.
Alright, well, I'll just Archie.
Sure. Now, Schemer is fine. It's just you've got to actually have a decent Pokemon count for it, really. Because discard draw 4 is really good.
Yeah.
It's because I mean you can just discard excess Dunsparce and stuff and draw 3. That's still fine, right? We play TV Reporter and that card's good. So, yep. Not trying to say it's as good as TV Reporter, because it definitely isn't, mostly because you discard before you draw, but think how many decks in this format are playing 20 to 21 to 24 Pokemon, right? And
Problem is, are those decks Aqua? Or is Aqua enough?
no, but I mean again.
Sudden Flash.
Yep.
Please.
Alright.
Alright.
There it goes.
That's 4 heads in a row.
Yeah, It's pretty good. Right, well, I guess I should probably just energy conserve here, right? I'll use the two shifts to move stuff to the bench. We will attach one. Let's probably attach the Dark here, I think, to the Claydol, and we will end the turn at that. So, go for it.
Nope, still not what I'm looking for. So I'm just gonna sudden flash again.
Okay. Ooh, not this time. Alright. We will draw. Okay, so let's use one of the Magma shifts to move the Dark up then. We'll just attach to the bench, and because of the Dark and the weakness, linear attack will do 60 to the active, so we might as well just take the knockout on the active, because that's where the energy is right now. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to linear attack and knock out the Dunsparce here. There we go, get a prize.
Sorry, I was texting somebody.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's I didn't want to move the cards just so because I didn't want to didn't want to intrude on stuff there. Right, go for it.
Oh my goodness. Can I catch a break, man? Oh, this deck is just trash anyway, so it's fine. Aqua energy.
Yep.
Poison reaction for 20.
Right, and then the Aqua falls off at the end of the turn. Alright, we will draw. I suppose we just push for it here. I have a fighting, will transfer the Dark up, because I have Strength Charm to allow me to pulverize for 80 here. So yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll get the knockout on the Groudon with that. Because I don't think there's going to be anything on that bench that's going to threaten the KO back this turn, so I'm okay putting up enough energy for that. So yeah, it's 50 plus the 2 Darks plus the 10 for Strength Charm to Groudon scores the score in the knockout.
Ouch.
Yeah.
You got a Strength Charm on this thing?
Yeah, I put a Strength Charm on it.
That's not fair.
No, it is not. You are not wrong.
Oh look, the guy been trying to get this whole thing.
I know.
Alright, so I'm gonna discard this, get some energy back.
Sure.
Let's see. 2 energy with that, and that.
Yep.
Put 1 on him.
Okay.
And switch him out. This is pretty pointless, but... End my turn.
Yep. Okay, we will draw. I'm like kind of there, but also really not. Okay, let's move the 2 Darkness Energy away here because they're probably the most valuable assets on this board right now. I suppose I'm going to Conspirator here. Not that I want to, but don't really have anything else I can do in this hand, so why not, right? Because it does let me get basic energy, so I can get Psychic Fighting here. So that one goes into hand. Attach for turn is going to be the Psychic on... yeah, put it on that one. And I'm just going to linear attack the active for 20 here. because that sets it up for a KO next
Team
turn.
Magma Conspirator. The world's fanciest professor letter.
Yep. I'll just wait until we get, what is it, like, Professor... No, it's not getting knocked out, it's only doing 20. I only have one Strength Charm, I'm not getting another thing on it. If I had 3 Darkness Energy in play, then yeah, I could have done it, but I don't, so... I'm just hitting it for 20 and keeping my energy in play.
Alright, he's got 40 on him?
Yeah, 40 on him at the moment.
Ooh. If I had a free switch and this would be over, but I don't.
Yeah, you'd be able to knock him out with a switch here.
I haven't drawn a Pokemon in forever, so I can't use an Aqua Stinger. Oh, this is so annoying. Magneton again. Just got this.
Ah, I see, yeah. So you were looking for the switch so you could have Aqua Slashed?
Yeah. But now I don't have a switch, so...
Yeah.
Oh boy. Alright, pass.
Okay.
At this point, you just switch out your Groudon. You don't need to.
I could. Alright, let's try our own Magma Ball here. Alright, I'm not gonna actually bother getting anything off the search here because I think I don't have any targets at this point. I wanted the evolution, not the basic, so that's fine. Yeah, let's, because there's a colorless in that cost, let's just put the fire on the Groudon here and we will pulverize for 70 to take the knockout since you've got 2 damage counters on you. Don't need to use the Darkness Energy on it this time, so you can take that. Oh, about damn time you showed up. It is. They're very stuck on there, huh?
Alright. Pokemon. Yay!
Hey!
Before. It's too early to go. Put him down.
It's worth going to the habit of keeping a supporter in play because versus Seeker is 2 sets away and it really it kind of matters when that drops.
Yeah, you're not allowed to pick up. The supporters in this era are discarded at the end of turn, not as soon as they're played. So you wouldn't be able to pick them up later on. So.
Okay. Put the belt on him. And I'll activate the belt in between.
You can't. Belt has to be on an active Pokemon. That's why I don't run it.
Active?
It's on active
and
it's in between turns anyway. So if your turn's not over yet.
That too.
Yeah, I was gonna. Well, that part I was gonna just wait until my turn is over. But yeah, it's not active. All right. Oh, unless I switch right now. There's no point in doing that. I'll just water energy.
Yeah.
And Aqua Slash.
Takes them out. Yeah. Yeah, obviously there's a couple of ways of doing it, but the Claydol is funnier, so we're gonna do it with that. Because I can, I doesn't even have to trans, but Claydol does more damage for if I have more cards in hand than you, so this will be 60 plus the 20 from the Darks, so Dark Hand will get the knockout, and that will be that. Yeah, bricking at the start, but as soon as I got like one thing, it just eventually went by. It was only because of like both of us had a pretty slow start. I think if this might have been that one free game that you would actually take with that raid deck, Pepper, because that was not a fast start in the slightest.
Yeah, that is one thing my deck will do. It will punish you if you stumble.
The worst part.
Turn 2 is no joke.
The worst part of it.
Doing it.
Yeah, the worst part of this. If you don't think of Maxi as like a turn 1 support, because obviously it isn't, this deck has got like 15 supporters that it could play on turn 1 and get advantage out of it, either by like drawing or searching stuff, and it took me 4 turns to find one of them. Like, a quarter of the deck is stuff that would have been very beneficial there. And 17 energy too, and I didn't get one of those for like 3 turns as well, so just... yeah,
classic
like...
Cal.
Pretty much. More than half the deck is consistency outs, and I just didn't get like any of them, you know? But in some ways that is kind of why I'm a little cold on this deck, to be honest, because like there isn't an inbuilt draw like with say Delcatty, or an inbuilt like, you know, search typing off it. I can't play Magneton to get energy back. I have to use the camera ups, which is nice, but it also self-damages at that point. And yeah, I think what actually stole that one was the double Claydol.
Claydol is a good card.
Yeah, I wasn't necessarily thinking at the beginning of that I was gonna maxi the Claydol into play, because I could have just evolved the one I had, right? But I'm glad I did, because that Underground Expedition, the second one, got a Claydol from the bottom of my deck. So then that was why I was looking at it going, wait a minute, I can actually take a knockout here, because I can now move 2 energy instead of 1, right? So it was just all kinds of silly at that point for it.
I'm missing 2. Oh. Missing these 2. Alright.
So, like, I guess as a long story short on this one, I can see why this deck did well at Worlds, even though we haven't quite got the full setup for it yet. It really needs Desert Ruins for 1, because that's in the next set, because chipping down the large EXs is going to be very, very important for it. Technically, Groudon can 2-shot them, even without that, but it needs a lot of darkness in play. And also, Steven's advice would be super crazy for this, because like your Dunsparce opener there, if I could have Steven that on like turn 1 and drew 4 cards off of it with what I already had in hand, yeah, that would have been pretty nuts. So I can see why this did well. I still don't think it's that like ridiculous, to be honest, because it feels like it just lives and dies on whether or not you happen to have a draw supporter in hand, which is not great when the rest of the format is like, you know, Delcatty drawing and other shit like that.
Well, at least Groudon's not EX, so
yes. I think this is the main reason why it works, is because Groudon is a big chonker that has like EX HP but isn't an EX, and still does good enough damage as well when you factor in the fact of it's part dark, so you can use the bonus damage on darkness energy. I think that's why it works. We didn't get to see Magma energy in that game, but yeah, we didn't get to see the Magma energy. I actually don't have enough of these, to be honest. I only pulled 1 and Pepper only had 2, so I am short 1 of these, which does matter because the Magma, like you've seen it with the Aqua energy there, you can burst options with this is super good. So it isn't quite as strong as I'd like that way, but it still works more than well enough. I ended up just putting the basic, which one was it? It's a Fire Energy, I think, was the basic that I added in instead. I like having the 1 Fire, the 1 Psychic in here. I wouldn't go further than that, but I like the idea of being able to Conspirator for the energy that you need to attack with Camera Up or Claydol. So,
makes a lot of sense.
It's the same sort of reason why you're playing Energy Search in the Rayquaza thing, right? Because it's effectively like another copy of the thing, except in this case, it's also on my ideal starter for the game as well, right? Like I want to...
The reason I'm not running multi is because the Lantern and Manectric can only move basics around.
Yeah, which does make a lot of sense, for sure. Yeah, so I think from what I have played of this so far, I would kind of put this more at the sort of, I guess if you want to look at it in terms of normal tier stuff, I'd probably put it at like 1.5 rather than the tier 1 that is Blaziken and probably God of War. I say probably because we never got to see it. I wonder why.
I tried.
You tried. I tried as well. We never got to see it because somebody didn't want to let it go despite having no intentions of actually playing it.
We could always play full format for a week if we wanted.
We could. We absolutely could. Because I really do want to see the deck. I don't think God of War holds up after this format. Mostly because of the stuff like Team Rockets and whatnot kind of eclipse its way of doing things, right? Like, why would you play God of War when Dark Electrode is a thing, right? For example. Kind of just does it, but better. Or even just Electro DX in general. Kind of does the same thing, but better, right? So it's like, I don't know why you would necessarily play, like, the clunky Stage 2 at that point, when we have better options. Or Blastoise ZX is an excellent extra example of that. That is from hand, but it's Rain Dance for only 1 damage counter instead of the 2 that God of War would be using, and it's as many times as you want per turn, if I remember rightly. So, yeah, it gets out overshadowed, I think. This is its format to shine, and we're not going to get to see it, but that's okay.
Yep, as often as you like during your turn, attach 1 water from your hand to one of your Pokemon.
Yep.
Put a damage counter on it.
Yep. This was used in LBS by the end of the format. It's Lugia, Blastoise, Steelix. I don't remember the exact makeup of the deck other than that, but I know that Lugia was able to take extra prizes. I'm pretty sure there was some sort of energy trancing or conversion type effect on something somewhere, because Lugia did its usual thing. As you can imagine, it's like Elemental Wing or some shit, but it also took extra prizes when it killed things, so it was actually worth it this time. I would need to look it up, but I know this was one of the big decks of the time, the LBS deck. It might have been 2006 that it came in, I don't know, but yeah, you can see why though, right? This time it does 200, and
Yeah, look at the right one.
okay, it's not actually getting extra prize. That's the fucking Lugia from Gen 5, right? I'm thinking wrong EX.
Yeah.
You get the idea though. It's like, this thing kills everything. So if you can just if you can accelerate to it and then change the type somehow, that's gonna be lethal. Very lethal. Right, yeah, I don't know if I want to subject you to this deck, Pepper, just because of the weakness thing. It seems like a very unfair match in that aspect.
I want to try the tech out. I want to see what the cat turn.
You want to
does.
see what it's like?
I want to see what the cat turn does specifically. I
Okay.
doubt I'm gonna win, but I do technically have options against fighting. I just don't think they're great, and I think the Zangoose kind of threatens the Ray too much.
That's fair. Okay, then let's.
Or you can just stumble again, and I can start cutting prizes on turn 2.
Yeah, I mean that is a thing. You know what isn't a thing though? This hand.
So I get it. So I take the mulligan after prizing, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's like reversal switch, basically the same as last time. Got more energy this time, compared to the 0 that I had last time. But yeah, no Pokemon I can play down, so you know what? Okay, I think we can we can survive on this. Alright, what would we like?
Heads.
No dice. Okay, apparently I'm just going first with stuff this time round.
Hello, first turn crowd.
Sorry, I was muted for a while. I think I gotta go now, but enjoy
Yeah,
the match.
Thank you for playing with us as well there. It was good to get a game with you this week as well.
No problem. And I'll post my drafts probably
I'll leave your decks behind, so we don't have the issue we had last week.
Leave my decks behind?
No, it's alright. I think we've... yeah, it's not a problem with it. We'll be fine. Because I've... At least the first one I have seen, I can always like, go back through the VOD and stuff if I want to see the King Draw. Yeah, no, we're all good.
Right. I can post it on the group too. So
that would... If you could get a picture of it for that, it'd probably be a good idea. Because it'd be nice to see the stuff that we played against here.
Okay, I'll do that for the Kingdra and next draft.
Yep.
Alright.
Alright, take care, dude.
See you.
Okay, so for this here, I have two diverging lines as to what I could do with it here. I can't actually attack this first turn unless I get extremely lucky. That much is for sure. But, I mean... that would be ridiculous, and I am kind of happy about that aspect. But I'm not sure which way round I should do this. I'm going to play them both anyway, so I might as well show you the dilemma here and see what you reckon of it. I have a Magma Ball, and I have Underground Expedition as my supporter for 10. I don't know which way round I should play this, because if I do the Expedition... and then I shuffle the deck after the Magma Ball, so if I draw another Expedition, I don't see the same cards again. But if I do the Magma Ball first, then that might better inform what I take off of the Expedition. I think both are valid, because you could argue the same for Expedition too, right? Like, it could inform what I take off of the Magma Ball.
I'm assuming you have no more Expedition in hand.
No. Not at the moment. Otherwise, I probably would have not had a question on this.
I would probably feel safe leaving the Expedition cards on the bottom, just because you're likely to get a second shuffle at some point, and you're not too likely to see Expedition off of an Expedition turn. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I think the rest of this hand is weird in that aspect, but it's not like completely.
The chance of seeing a second
unviable.
Expedition is a lot lower than than your Magma Ball's coin flip.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're going to go with that. We're going to go with the Magma Ball first here. Alright, Tails it is. So that changes like nothing per se, but it changes the dilemma on the other side of things. Like what's in the rest of my hand here that I'm not divulging.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you may have also noticed I'm actually playing this one now because I've realized that being able to put a dark or like a fire or something on this and being able to do the damage at the start of the game, kind of important for dealing with stupid Dunsparce. So, you know, I have realized that is probably better. I still should maybe try the Psychic one, but I understand why this one was played instead. It's because of the friend ball stuff, right? It's a lot harder to friend ball with fighting types than it is with... God, these prizes are not doing me any favors in like any of these games. Jesus Christ. Yeah, there's one of that. There's one of that. One of that gone. Those are there at least. Yeah, I think I actually will take the Baltoy here, if only so you can't friend ball for a Dunsparce. Which I think is still somewhat reasonable here. And then, yeah, we're gonna Expedition.
Playing around friend ball is very valid this format. A lot of decks run it. Just because of the magnet cat mirrors.
Yep. Okay, so we'll do that, and then it doesn't actually matter which order these go in.
And I have shown the Magnemite, so It's a reasonable assumption I'm running them.
That's why it doesn't matter which order they go in, because we've got dual ball here. That's good enough. Yeah, you know it's scary looking at that. Is like I said, I wouldn't be able to attack this turn unless I got very lucky. I very nearly did. That's crazy. Yeah, we're gonna grab normal here. We will attach a fighting and end the turn. Go ahead. That's so terrifying, actually, that I was like that close to being able to attack. Yep.
Aqua Ball. Also a fail, so not matters that much in a situation where Electrike is probably not long for the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just the ability to threaten darkness here is so powerful.
It is, yeah. It's like if I have it, then
Prizes. Okay. Dual ball.
Mm-hmm. I like how you shuffle before that, just anticipating this result. You almost
I'm nodding. It doesn't come up on mic, but I'm nodding.
Ah.
Here. What point?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think Numel's probably the best bet here.
Catch lightning.
Mm-hmm.
I'll use the energy search first.
Yep.
Pull out a fire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think I'm too bent out of shape forcing the warp point out this early, because that could be rather important later on to have away.
Birch for 4.
That's pretty good.
Play a Skitty.
Mm-hmm.
Play
Yeah,
a Chinchou.
I was gonna say, this is a hell of a start. And here is where I Steven for 5.
Yeah.
If
Stevens around a Chinchou was probably a mistake.
Yeah, if I had one.
Well, it's not. So instead, I'm just going to confuse Ray.
Okay. Can't get too crazy. Deck, please. I'm gonna play the other tool ball. Okay, you know what? That's fair.
Yeah, we both got a 0 off of it.
Okay, so far our dual balls are 1 and 5. There we go. Alright, well, if dual ball doesn't work, how about better dual ball? I'm gonna play Conspirator.
Yeah, that looks like it'll work.
So let's go ahead. This is one of those, if I kind of feel like I should grab another Groudon here, but I don't know if it's necessary right now. Feels like I probably need to, but... I mean, the alternative is I grab, like, a second Numel, and maybe even the other Baltoy, right? Just make sure that they stay in play. Or I could just say, this time I am going to grab Zangoose and just go nuts to it. This does put into hand, it doesn't put in on the bench, so I could just grab like one to put the Groudon live and then keep the other in hand. Doesn't sound too bad actually, because the Goose doesn't have to come down until like I actually need it, right? So... especially when I'm already set up here, right? That's the other bit, is like, Zangoose doesn't kill anything in one hit except Rayquaza, so... And if you Shaman me, I'm probably okay with that on a hand size like this, right? So, yeah, I think that's what we'll do actually. We will grab definitely the Goose that's going into hand here. Yeah, no, let's grab the normal. If this guy's gonna get confused, I want no part of it. So yeah, we're gonna get it just to make sure that it's gonna be fine. This will go to hand. I will attach there, and I will collect to draw a card. The other thing I was kind of thinking of was using fire energy was the other thing, so I could attach the fire to the normal, just get that ready. Yep. That was the other thing I was considering. Oh, that's pretty good.
Gives me the lantern.
Sure does.
Darkness on the ground and ruins this, but I'm gonna make you have it. I'm the aggro deck.
You're gonna do it. All right.
I'm making you have it.
So for the stream here, the auxiliary light on the lantern lets you attach a basic energy from your hand to it, but it puts 2 damage counters when you do. And this was the other reason to grab the normal, because this guy was potentially going to get KO'd.
I'm going to take that KO.
Yep, sounds good to me. Yeah, I mean, we go in with a Groudon, because of course we do. We will draw... There was no support at that turn, huh? Alright, I regret to inform you, you are correct.
You had it.
Thinking what else I want to do here. Because obviously I can't attack just yet. I still don't want to give you the Friend Ball, and this is going to look really silly, but I'm going to maxi the normal back. Because I think it's better to do that than to give you that potential Friend Ball in that hand there, since you didn't show a supporter card. So I'm not feeling too bad about it that way. Yeah, we will linear attack for the 60. As we have established, Darkness Energy is before Weakness and Resistance. So we can apparently do that.
Really sure is it supposed to...
Yeah, I'm having a hard time seeing what
like,
is going to be done here.
Like, the problem was I had to play aggro's matchup, and...
Yep.
I hope you use the boost. Pretty sure. Minor errands running.
Sure.
I think I need to god draw out of this or something.
Right, okay, we will draw. Let's try the Magma Ball. Alright, yeah, that's pretty good.
I don't think what I did was wrong, but I knew it was risky.
Yeah.
I think in this matchup, I just kind of have to accept that if the Groudon gets a Darkness early, it's probably GG on its own.
Yeah, there are 7 potential outs in my thing for it, because I mean it should be 8, but I don't have enough for the energy for it. Because I could have Magma Energy pulverized instead and gotten the knockout that way if I had to. Right, so we have the Claydol, we have the camera up here. You very graciously put an energy in my discard before, so we will go ahead and overheat here. Grab that 20 so we can do
The other thing
that.
is taking the pride is another card in my hand, so...
Yep. Okay. So I think here it is now worth putting the Zangoose down, because you have shown me that there is a danger with that. So this seems like a reasonable time to do that. Thinking what I want to Claydol here, because I haven't attached from hand yet, so I'm thinking whether I should I don't think I need to move the energy off the camera up to this turn, so it's a question of what would I preserve, if anything, here. Yeah, I think I mean, I want to move the Dark because that makes more sense, because I don't need it to KO the Skitty. Yeah, let's move the Dark, because I don't get bled for that. We'll attach a Fighting from hand and we'll knock out the Skitty with linear attack. Because I think just taking prizes when I only have like one card in hand is probably the most sensible thing here. Yep.
Catch fire, pass.
Okay. Yeah, this is the unfortunate bit.
Right. It's not that I don't have supporters, I don't have useful supporters.
And whereas I have Conspirator. So
is it crazy to think that deck running Lantern is just aggro enough that it doesn't try to heal them? It just says fine, they're dead.
It might be. Honestly, that might be the case here. Yeah, so we'll grab these two. Because I think getting another one of these in play makes sense, and getting the fire so I can use that with the...
Especially if I have to run Poker Park next set as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Bitch.
Okay. So I'm going to move the Dark from the Zangoose to the Groudon. I'm going to put the fire on the Zangoose instead, and I'm going to linear attack the Rayquaza because it doesn't have resistance on the bench.
Yep,
so we're going to hit that for
sense.
20. Because it will get to a point where even through resistance I could KO it.
Okay.
And this way I'm not risking Dark Energy on the active here in case it does get blown up, because fuck if I know, it's possible. Not this turn, but like give it a turn, it'll be possible.
Touch lightning, pass.
Okay, yep. We will draw. Because I think that's the other scary bit about this deck, is that it can just go, alright, I'm just gonna do bench things, right? And not even attack active when it doesn't have to. Because we both know I can always threaten that whenever I want to, so... Okay, yeah, let's just move on to the Zangoose here, I think. Is that right, actually? Because you could just Gust that. No, I think it's better to move it to the Groudon, because that takes more energy to do. Yeah, Zangoose only takes 2, so you could, like, reversal, switch, attach, kill thing. I would not put it past you to be holding on to highlight 2 of those cards right now. So, yeah, I think that's probably the safest bit, and we will just hit the Ray again here, I think.
Okay.
Because at this point, Pulverize is actually only 10 off of killing Ray. So that could just be Strength Charm or Darkness Energy, and I can actually knock it out.
Birch for
Yep.
2.
I've been there. I've been worse than there as well. I have had my fair share of Lily for 1. It's not fun.
I think that's game, honestly.
Yeah.
Too much clog. I had 2 double Bryes in hand. I did have the reversal. I was eyeing that Zangoose. You weren't right to be scared of it.
I have some
like, if I drew Engie
here.
instead of Birch, I probably would have done just that. Like, Brian is back up the Electrike, push the Ray in, try and pull the Zangoose in to kill it.
Yep.
Give you at least a problem.
Yep. So I was like, no, the
This is
sensible
where that
play.
thing I say about regretting the brinies, the
Yeah.
nurse trade, because if these were nurses, and I managed to somehow find my Manectric like that, I could stop. Oh no, you can't Metric off the blue ray. Damn it.
Yeah, you can't Manectric off the ray,
Yeah,
so...
my prizes were fine. It's just,
Mhm.
yeah, the matchup's miserable.
Yeah.
The matchup is miserable.
I had a camera up to the clay doll in my opening prizes, so that was why it's like, really? That's the exact same thing that happened last time, basically? I was like, come on, for real.
Maybe
But,
the early attack was bad, but I think an aggro deck in a bad matchup, taking the risk is something you gotta do.
Alright, so you want to know how close I was to getting the KO on that Electrite turn 1? I had this guy in my opening hand as well, so had I hit, like, I need to find my one Strength Charm, right? So that was the upper bit I would have been missing, but had I hit...
Strength Charm, yeah.
Had I hit Strength Charm Dual Ball, like, it could have been Strength Charm Dual Ball, 2 heads, knock out that Electrike on turn 1 going first. I'm like, fucking really? I was very close. I really like Strength Charm in here actually, because I do think the added 10 that you can push for makes a big difference in a lot of the games. Because you can.
It also means that your little 10 damage Pex can put something into pulverized range.
Yes, absolutely.
Nice
So
bonus.
I genuinely feel like Strength Charm is amazing here, and I want more of it, but I don't think this deck in this format, at least with my pulls, is consistent enough to allow to play more.
I'll show off my pre-text version as well.
Sure. So I don't think I think we've established this one pretty well. This is my capable play for this round. I think if I had TV reporters, like more than 2 of them, Birch would have been replaced with that, because I think overall that is the better option, but obviously I do not, so yeah, this would have been your go at it here. So the other... Go on.
It's still unrefined, still a bit slow and clunky. I'm not sure how... maybe it has to be this for Stevens, but it feels a bit slow off the mark.
Yeah, I can understand that. So the other deck I was considering playing was the Blaziken thing, it was effectively the same idea as last week, but flipped, if you will, because instead of the Venusaur being the dominant thing, I bulked up the line slightly, and it's a 101 Venusaur because it's the 3/1/3 Blaze, right? 1 regular Blaze, 2 EXs. Because Venusaur plus Blaziken is disgusting, right? You just double attach the fire from hand and you can snipe the 100 every turn. It's so gross. But yeah, only because I don't have more of the other Blaze is the reason why Venusaur stayed in. I would ideally, even if it was just 2 of them, ideally I would play like 2 of this guy and 2 of this one, and it would probably be fine.
Of course.
But
my idea here was more Typhlosion's bad Blaziken. Other Typhlosion's bad other Blaziken. Put them together, maybe there's fire deck in there?
Yeah, it's possible. I can see why, like, this guy isn't the greatest ever, I would definitely concede that, but there are some things this actually does pretty well. Obviously the not being able to retreat thing is pretty good, but even looking at Split Blast, the fact if you don't discard 2 energy on that every time means that you don't have to commit so many like switches and stuff, right? Because I think that's going to be the big weakness of Blaziax in a pure Blaziken deck. If you want to use Volcanic Ash more than 1 turn in a row, you are going to have to switch to the bench as well, which commits a lot more space, right? Yeah, I think you would have to play a lot more like hard switches and stuff at that point. That's why I like the Venusaur, because the Venusaur can just do it from hand. It's so good.
Next set, there's also this guy, which opens up Memory Berry Typhlosion next to the line.
Yep.
Which could save it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's enough. Like, at least on its own. Like, you have to run something else that Memory Berry works with.
Sure.
Don't think technically existing Charizard, but 1, good looking draft. That Charmander's a secret.
Yep.
And 2, like, heat up on Charizard just sounds worse than Firestarter on Blaziken.
Yeah, there's a little bit, isn't it? I mean, I like the attack. I like Charizard's attack, actually. I do think it's pretty respectable, but it's a bit rough, you know. The 60 discard a fire, snipe 30 thing, with boost energy compatibility, but you have to discard a fire. If you could have just discarded the boost with its effect, I think I'd be... I mean, I wouldn't be able to play it because I only have one Charizard, one of the Charmeleon, right? But I think it'd be a serious, like, look-in if we were to just, like, play this format with all the cards available, right?
Yeah, Raidon and EX just sounds so good. It's like, yeah, it's like random 100+ damage for little to no investment.
Right, absolutely. Right, do you want to see a couple of the other bits of bullshit that I was looking at this week? Because,
sure.
oh boy, I have a couple of bits of bullshit this week. Okay, so the first one I have here would have been a lot better if I had the second of the Sceptile, actually. So if I actually did sort of commit to size bit there, if I could have found a way of getting that off of him, I probably would have played it instead of the non-EX one. But yeah, I kind of found a list. It was playing free for the muck instead, but I kind of found like a Sceptile muck list that looked kind of interesting, if nothing else. Turns out Aqua Hideout fucked me up more than anything in testing, so I was like, there were times where I could have paid Retreat, but I was one off because of my own fucking Hideout, and it actually made too much of a difference. I was like, nah, I can't, I just didn't end up having the time to change the thing. But like, the idea was pretty simple. Muck doesn't disable energy trans if it's not active, so obviously it's very disruptive against a lot of things when it is active, so, you know, you've got that early aspect to it where you just end up like using Muck in the early game and then buffing up a bunch of the Sceptile and stuff for later on. The 2 Wobbuffet I put in as a specifically anti-mat tech, I'll be honest, but it was also, you know,
it's reasonable. Like, if you want
it's
to put
good.
purple in a deck to cover matchups, you can't go wrong with Wob.
Yep. I mean, it's pretty good, and obviously you can energy trans the Rainbow away, so it just makes sense in that aspect. Rainbow instead of multi in case I have boost energy, for the record, because I can full heal anyway, so it's not like that big of a deal. Just green heal the damage off anyhow. This is why, like, if I had the second EX instead of this guy, like the decks were actually running, this would have been a bit more successful, but also this guy isn't the worst against Muck, because he's got massive HP, so he doesn't die too quickly. Yeah, he gets 2-shot by the second attack, but you're able to, in like slightly quicker matchups with this, like a more pure Sceptile build, you're able to get this guy running very quickly because he doesn't take anything to do, right? Just 1 energy, so you could rare candy with this if you had more of it. And the status conditions are really good against Muck because it never wants to actually switch out, and yeah, you just like, any random Sleep Tails means you get an extra turn, any Poison Chip means that you just get extra going on it, and you can't really run Nurse in the Muck deck, so they've only got like a couple of potions and shit, so, you know, this adds up. And then Solar Beam can be good. Yeah, Solar Beam is good because it's using boost energy, so there is that. And unlike the EX, it's not weak to grass, so, you know.
That helps.
This doesn't get one-shot by Muck, but you definitely don't want it in against it unless you can Slashing Strike that turn. But the fact that this can get a one-shot, like if I had a second of this and more boost energy, I think you could make an argument that Muck is not even that unfavorable matchup here.
Yeah, it's like with the Aqua deck, because I can hit 50 really easy on a one prizer. And like, yeah, we 2-hit KO each other, but you take 1 prize, I take 2.
Sure. So it's more for the sort of, it's not even limited disruption, but it's more for the earlier game disruption on this one. Mostly this deck got held back by, one, the fact that I didn't have more like of this sort of bit here. You could argue that it's held back by not really having rare candy in here, but you don't generally need to rare candy as quickly in this one. Maybe you could make an argument for it because I have this Sceptile, so I could easily replace these two with like 2 candy or something.
Yeah, like, I'm thinking there just shouldn't be a stadium in here in this format. Like, next set, sure.
Yeah.
This set, nah.
Yep. Again, the hideout was a decent enough idea because I usually don't switch out too much, and it boosts Muck's damage because it is giving the opponent a higher retreat cost, so you do actually get plus 10 on Muck. But yeah, no, it fucked me up more than it helped. So there is that. So yeah, this was what I was tempted to bring today, but it's a little bit too unrefined for me to be comfortable with it. And then probably the other biggest bit of bullshit here, which again maybe slightly too unrefined for this, but I still think was very funny anyway. Somewhat similar idea. This is what my face kind of lit up a little bit when I pulled the Sceptile EX because of this shit.
A deck that runs Crystal Energy after we found it was bad.
Yeah, okay, yeah, so if you thought that Wailord was annoying before, just imagine a Wailord that can actually, like, have energy trance going for it as well. This is my more refined take on it. This actually does come from that, was it Jay's Advice channel that you've posted to me before? Like, the concept of it from here.
Like this, yeah.
But I did not like his list at all, I'll be honest. I think he had like over 20 supporters in the deck as well, or like close to it. It was just like there was too much shit going on with it there, and not enough speed to it. There was no rare candies in his list, for example, and I do kind of feel like you want candy in this deck because you want to be able to energy trans as soon as possible, and also green heal as soon as possible, right? So I feel like you kind of need it in here. Again, this Sceptile was more as an anti-muck type of thing. You could easily cut this, but honestly, this deck like folds to muck immediately otherwise. So I figured at least this gives you a reasonable
your strat
shot.
on muck is try and build kind of bench and hope they don't flip their ER2s.
Yeah, or reversal. Because if they flip heads on any one of those 8 cards, you are instantly dead. So but yeah, to go over the Crystal Energy thing, for those who didn't know, we massively misinterpreted this card because it's worded poorly. Go figure.
Bloody wizards.
This Crystal Energy is effectively a limited Rainbow Energy. It is not a multi-attach type thing. It only provides one energy ever, but it will provide that energy of any type that you have a basic energy for as well. So in this deck, even if we had a grass and a water attached, it's only one energy, but it is one energy of both grass and water type, which basically makes it function very similarly to Rainbow Energy, where you can use it to fuel part of Wailord's ridiculous water cost, hence why we only need 2 of them in here, but you can also energy transit away if you have a grass energy attached as well. So with some clever movement around, you can always just move the Crystal Energy by, even if you don't have one attached already, by just transing a grass onto the Pokemon with Crystal, then moving it away afterwards. So that then makes it a lot easier to apply Sceptile to transfer the energy away rather than Kingdra, and use Pokemon Nurse and stuff that way. The problem with Kingdra is that you then have to have a way of hard switching the Wailord as well. Like, it's not good enough to have Kingdra plus Nurse, because then you can't move the Wailord, and it's just going to take a chunk again next turn anyway. You're back to square one. Whereas with this, you can't transfer the water energy, but you only ever have one of those on the Wailord anyway, and every other energy can get transferred away. So it's much easier to refuel after you swipe with it. Also, Sceptile itself is not unreasonable as an attacker, so, I mean, hell, this thing does 100 damage as well, so, yeah, it takes a lot of energy, but so does Wailord, for one, and it's energy you can constantly move around where you need to, and this guy's big enough to heal as well, so...
Poison Ring isn't a terrible attack either. 40 plus poison, plus they can't retreat out of the poison.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I honestly feel like Poison Ring is quite exceptional, to be fair. Like, I've said this about Ring of Fire as well, because it's very similar. This card in general is very similar to the Typhlosion, but I think it beats the Typhlosion because the Sceptile is better than the non-EX. Like, the non-EXs are just much better.
It also has that extra utility in Green Heal.
Yes, Green Heal is very good. That's the other thing, if I was able to have gotten that other Sceptile, there's the other thing that I think would be really good with the Lantern is Sceptile
I talked to
Lantern.
Leo about it earlier, actually, about Sceptile Lantern being a valid deck.
Yeah, that is the one deck I didn't get to build this week that I really wanted to. Like, I was going to look at Kingdra as well, ended up not because I, again, don't really have any way right now of justifying a trade for Kingdra to you, because I don't think there's anything I can give you.
I have got more focus on my deck, so it's a little rough on that one.
And you
it
don't
help
need...
that I was building something weird this round anyway.
Sure, and you don't need a third Ray in here, I'm pretty sure, so...
yeah. If it was a third anything, it'd be Manectric.
Yeah. Because
free Manectric in here is quite It's funny because the first Manectric's great, the second and third aren't so great, but there's versions of this deck which would use this as an attacker instead of the Ray, because this takes darkness and is just a good card, really.
Yeah. There are reasons that you would want multiple Manectric in play, though, because as we did establish, this is a once per turn. It's just you can move a bunch at once.
It's just a bench-based issue at that point,
Yeah.
because the second Lantern's also really good.
But yeah, if you...
It runs Magnet Cat, that's two bench sitters right there.
Yeah, so I know it gets awkward, but it's like, yeah, if you had two Lantern out, you would probably want the second Manectric out so you could accelerate off of both of them in the same turn. Which then emulates effectively what I do with the Venusaur, except slightly better, because you also have a manual attached array that you could do that turn as well, so... but yeah, that's the general gist of it I could see, is like, yeah, you could probably run more Manectric if you were thinking that way, but... yeah, I really like the idea of the Sceptile Lantern stuff, because yeah, this effectively just heals like 2 pings on Lantern for one thing, right? And yeah, just alternate.
And you're running Nurse as well if you get really desperate, though. I have noticed with Lantern, at least in an aggro deck, you don't care that much about healing it. It's normally too awkward, or just sits on the bench on 60.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about it in an aggro deck, but in more defense-oriented stuff with it. Yo, Sai! Hello, dude! Thank you for the resub! Yeah, we're just, we finished with the game stuff. Unsurprisingly, Magma was good. Although, having said that, I did basically brick game 1, so, you know, there was that. But, unsurprisingly, it was good. I think it could have been... I don't know if this list could have been much better for this week. At least not with my own polls. Like, I would have liked to have seen more of this, but you know what it's like. I don't think this could have been a lot better, but the deck as a whole, I think, is like, it could have been better, but it could have been, like, could have been just garbage, which it's not. I don't know. I'm not as keen on it as you might expect, I guess.
I've seen tier lists which put this in B tier, like not top.
And I could see it.
But those are more modern sorts, which say that Gorbis is actually best deck in format, so...
Yeah, without a doubt. I'm pretty sure that either Gorbis or... I mean, Gorbis hits Blaze for weakness is probably the reason why you could say it. But, like, both ends of Gorbis, generally, if you're going to run a Psychic thing for using that part of the energy, that would be it. But I still, for my money, Blaze is the best deck in format. Because it's just the most outright powerful, right? I mean, for fuck's sake, this thing hits 100 damage to anywhere on the board, and it's not even that ridiculously expensive to do. This is
I think part
easily...
of the reason an Aqua deck with water could work is because, hey, you're an electric water. You're hitting both the big decks.
Exactly.
Just gotta dodge the Magma matchup. Just gotta dodge.
Yep. No, I think this is easily the strongest attack we have ever seen so far. Like, outright attacks. You could still argue Murkrow's Mean Look is the strongest overall attack, and I wouldn't disagree with that. But I think in terms of, like, being a real attack, this Blaziken is by far the strongest thing that I have ever laid eyes on so far. And it's not even close.
It just delete target Pokemon.
Yeah. It's just not even close.
It even beats other Blazikens.
Uh-huh.
As a stage 2, it's deleting.
Yeah, everything that isn't a tanky stage 2 is getting killed on the bench from this thing. And it still does 50 for 2, 75% of the time. It's ridiculous.
Potentially more of the burn sticks, but count on it.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much that. You know my Flygon list, you've seen it already. I guess I could show the updated Venusaur thing real quick because it is it's not really Venusaur anymore. It's I've actually just called it Blaziken, but you know. Astral just going, how am I supposed to prove my independence without his help? It's Joey from the Yogurt series. Pretty sure it's Joey that was that anyway, because it's like going on about it with Yugi and whatnot. Yeah, so we'll show it on stream. Slightly cover, whatever. We'll show it on stream real quick. This is the updated list. I'm not sure if Entei needs to be in here, but it's mostly because I didn't quite have enough attackers, I don't think. Again, if I had the second place instead, then this would be entirely different there.
Might want second Ray instead, but
I actually prefer Entei to the Ray here, I'll be honest with you.
fair.
So I've been saying this all week, but Entei is basically Red Rayquaza. So you don't get hit by the same things that Ray gets hit by, but it actually does slightly more damage with this deck. Because when you think about it, what are you doing with Ray? You are you've got like a lightning on it and you attach 2 fire with Venusaur. You're doing 80 every turn. You do exactly the same thing with Entei and it does 90 instead, right?
But they can take 3 fire as well, and it has a better attack on 1, whereas the Ray's normally just sitting there flipping tails.
Yep. Yeah, so I actually prefer... I'm not convinced on the multi-energy at this point, but I do like the idea of multi just being a Rayquaza that does 80 for 2 attach type thing, or potentially 120 for 3, because that can matter. So, like, I kind of still am okay with it, but ideally I think I probably should cut this for 2 more fire. Yeah, my main issue with this deck was I was just bricking on the Pokemon count and whatnot, because you do need a lot in here at this point. This isn't uncommon for the era, but it is a bit of a problem, I think. And yeah, I was... This is my love-hate relationship with Pokénav at this point, because I kept fucking Pokénaving without a supporter in hand into, like, 3 Pokemon. And just being unable to do anything for the rest of the game. And I'm just like, no, this is out of hand now. So I think I replaced him for Dual Balls or something. Oh no, I had Dual Ball anyway. What did I replace it for? Probably like 1 energy and a Oak or something.
Yeah, that makes sense. When you take out 2 nav, you only put an energy back in.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted a 14th energy anyway because I wasn't getting enough energy against the Muck matchup. Because Blaziken generally beats Muck, actually.
Yeah, because it has good damage math. It has.
Yeah, and the fact if it can attack for 2 energy means even energy removal 2 is not necessarily that big of a problem for it. And Muck has to free shot this thing. So, you want to do your draft pulls as well soon, Sai? If you're free enough, that'd be very good. Because yeah, I think we're pretty much done with it here. But you can see the decks I was looking at this week. Again, I've shown Flygon before. I think I showed Flygon last week as well. The only change in it was 1 energy? I think it was one of the lightnings I took out for the 1 double rainbow energy that I pulled. I didn't even change anything else in that deck this week. Didn't really have... I didn't have the motivation to do it because I didn't have enough double rainbows for what I wanted to do. Even if I had like 1 more, I probably would have focused a bit more on that deck. But that's okay. Because I do still think that deck is really cool. I just, unfortunately, I don't think it's a deck that I can pilot quite as much as I wanted to now. Simply because I just didn't quite get the enough of the cards for it. It was like one of the multi-energy as well, right? I only pulled 1 of those naturally as well, so...
Yeah, you've had a bad run of it on the energies.
Yeah, but it's okay. It is what it is, and I think... Honestly, I still think the deck is decent. I just don't think it's quite as good without having the ability to go Energy Shower out of 0 attaches, right? To just go flip double rainbow, Energy Shower, just put everything on the board immediately. I don't think the deck is quite as strong. It is still good, but yeah. Oh yeah, this would have been a TV reporter, by the way, but of course.
It's a reasonable swap, yeah.
It's not bad, because it's the same general idea. You're seeing 4 cards instead of 3 with that thing. Yeah, they're from the bottom of the deck instead, but that generally doesn't matter.
Bottom versus top is usually irrelevant, yeah. It's placebo.
Yeah, so you're seeing 4 instead of 3, so you're able to get a bit further into your deck, if you will. And I mean, you also take any 2 cards, right? You're getting the same overall advantage out of it, but you're looking slightly further in, and you get a choice as to what you take as a result of that. So I wouldn't say it's better, but I do think it's roughly equivalent, actually.
I think we've undersold it earlier in the format for sure.
I did say it was good, but I've just never been able to fit it into a deck. But now, yeah, I think it's a lot more reasonable. It gets a lot better when you have like other draw engines and stuff as well, though, right? Like, again, Delcatty now being very strong has helped a lot. Although, funnily enough, I don't remember seeing very many Delcattys in the 2005 decks. So
I think Pidgeot kind of took it over. I think that's what happened.
that definitely didn't help.
Also, Battle Frontier is also not going to be nice for it, but
Yeah.
yeah, kind of things for that.
Alright, yeah, so I think that will be enough for the video side of things. So thank you very much for watching on that front. We're going to stick around a little bit because, of course, I know, pretty sure you want to do your draft at the moment. I know Sai's going to be coming in to do that fairly soon as well, once he's had something to eat. And I will not be, for the same reason as always, apart from the fact of last time, at least 2 sets ago, I got kicked out the server at one point for that. Wouldn't have that issue today, but, you know, it's still a precautionary thing. Do you want any of these decks around, actually, that I've shown here?
I don't usually save decks, to be honest.
That's fine.
I always keep my own decks, but I haven't edited. I think I kind of did edit, actually. It was like a... Yeah, I did make what? And it was like a dual ball and a lightning out. I'll have to change this for next set anyway. It's not a big deal.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I've debated between 1 and 2 magnets. Because